Hey y'all, welcome back, and we are back with another episode this week. If you're looking for last week's episode, it should be coming out today. Andrew had some internet issues at his apartment, plus the kid was graduating, so we threw a lot at him in one week. But you should have an episode coming out tonight. And
Yes,
by tonight,
big shout out to Andrew for graduating college.
a big shout, and we'll be there next year when he graduates with his master's.
Oh,
So we
I
will
know,
be having a
so
lot of fun.
exciting.
But by tonight, I mean probably. By the time this episode gets released by Thursday, it'll come out
Yes.
on Tuesday of this week. But tonight is really, we'll talk a little bit of sports. We'll talk a little bit about the Knicks, the Pacers, the Wolves, Thunder, some lacrosse stuff because that's one of my favorite sports. Talk about WNBA, of course. Talk about baseball. But really, the story tonight is all about my co-host and his HYROX USA event coming up this upcoming weekend.
Woo,
So
woo,
we're going to dive
woo.
into really what this is because I try to explain it to people, and I know I've explained it as it's like a combination of CrossFit, running, all these other things. And Kevin's told me I'm wrong about how I explain it, but it's the best way in my mind to explain the event. Um, so he'll explain it to everybody.
Yes,
There will be a bunch of us out there supporting him. So get ready for that. There'll be videos. There'll be a lot of fun stuff happening. I promise.
gonna be a
Um,
good time.
and I'm
I'm
going to
ready.
connect with Kevin's friend Michelle, and she and I are going to work on how we're going to connect and how this is all going to work um, come Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. I'm like very excited to see everybody. It'll be fun to see you and Cyrus in the flesh and Andrew and Mark. It'll be a great time. I was literally just with Michelle and our friend Jess, who's coming to see me on Saturday, and we're just talking about how excited we're gonna be. And honestly, what I'm excited for the race, but I'm excited for the post-race celebrations afterwards.
Oh, don't worry. There'll be plenty of that. I just
Yes.
have to wake up. Andrew and I have to wake up early the next day to go to Long Island to drive back to New Massachusetts.
Oh yeah, so don't get too crazy, but we're gonna have a
Yeah,
good
no,
time.
no, we won't go too crazy. We'll enjoy it. We'll do some celebratory drinks with you because that's needed. But Kevin, let's start with you. I know the number. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
that's a 90s kid for the NBA knows this number.
Mm-hmm.
But who you repping tonight?
This is Allen Houston, and this is also a 90s version of Allen Houston. So,
Hmm.
this was an eBay buy, a purchase from after a night out. As you guys know, my favorite thing to do is shop on eBay after a night out.
That's true.
Wheeled and dealed. I think I got this. He had it originally for $80. I got him to get it for 55. Anyway, so with
Wow.
shipping, I think I paid 60 and change.
That ain't bad.
Right?
That
What a steal.
that's a nice jersey.
Yeah, and it's like whoever had this, big props to you. You took really great care of it, especially being like the 90s edition of this. Like not a lot of fading. The numbers are still looking good. No stitching coming off. A lot of times when you see like these older jerseys, like the numbers are starting to be
Hmm.
like whited out because of like the constant washing. But kudos to this guy or gal, whoever had this, because they did a really great job of preserving it. And that's what I'm trying to do with the jerseys I have. So to keep them in the collection. But yeah, Allen Houston for me. And then so merit to you. I know you got your Patriots on, but who is that fun hat?
So this weekend I was in Pennsylvania visiting a couple friends and their family with my wife and my son, and we decided for Saturday or Sunday, Saturday we went to Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs baseball game.
Oh,
So
fun.
they are the AAA affiliate to the Philadelphia Phillies. Um, so that was a lot of fun. They did fireworks. We weren't sure if they were going to have a game because it was raining majority of the day. And they actually did a doubleheader because the Friday night game got canceled due to rain. So they did a doubleheader. Um, but of course, you know me, I can't go somewhere without copping a hat for a team that I'll probably only wear a few times. But I love this. I could have gotten like a red one, a blue one, but a tan one just
I like the tan one because I feel like that's more versatile that you could wear it with.
yeah, that was the idea, and it's a nice hat. It's a cool logo. Iron Pigs. It's
Yeah.
hysterical. They played the Buffalo Bison, which
Oh,
is
that's cool.
AAA for the Toronto Blue Jays. And
Oh,
they
okay.
beat them 5-2 in seven, just because doubleheaders in minors only do 7 innings. Um, it was a good game. It was fun to watch. The kids went and played on the playground. We had a couple of drinks, but it was a
Nice.
really good time all in all. So, yeah, definitely, I'm happy to rep the hat, but I'll be wearing something different this weekend. I promise. Some different hat, something fun.
Yes, I'm
Maybe
I'm curious to what hat you will wear because definitely I feel like I could see you wearing the bucket hat
I
this
got
time, just
well
because it's like
the
sunny.
the bucket hat doesn't match
Okay.
what I'm going to be wearing. I would love to wear the View bucket hat, but it ain't going to match.
So I was gonna say, so I was with Michelle when we watched both game 3 and game 2,
Hmm.
and I told her to not show me the shirts. I'm very excited to see the shirts. I want to know what it is, but I want to be surprised.
I can tell you
So
it's a
you
black it's
don't
black.
tell me it. Don't
It's
tell me it. I don't even want to know what colors.
okay. Okay. Well,
I don't even want to
you're
know. I don't even want to know what colors. Um, what's it called? I love that you guys have a shirt plan. I remember Michelle just told me that you guys are trying to execute something, and I'm really curious to what it was. So I was thinking, what if you tell the people on the podcast? I'll just step away. I'll have my phone. Just text me when you're done, and you can
okay.
tell the people what you guys did for me. How's that sound?
I can do that. All right. You go
All
away.
right,
I
I'm gonna
will.
go. I'm gonna go away for 2 seconds.
All right.
Cool, and then text me when you come back, so I know when to come back.
I will. Maybe
I hear
not.
that would be actually hilarious if you
That
did.
would be
But
funny.
here I go. Here I go.
All right, y'all. So Kevin walked away. The shirt that Michelle and I designed together is a kind of something nice for Kevin. It reps the gym that he's there representing, as well as saying Team Cueva, and two surprise things I can't tell anybody on the back of it as well, that I think is just going to be a great touch to the shirt. It is all black, so we will be a little warm because it's going to be in the 80s, 70s, 80s. So, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a blast. We're definitely gonna get pictures. We'll get videos, everything. But again, black shirt, repping his gym, and a couple cool things on the back. But I'm gonna text Kevin, get him back, so that he can join us. So keep that hush hush. Kevin won't know until Saturday, so he can't listen to this podcast at all after this. So um, I'm excited. I know Michelle is excited. I know everyone else is. So hopefully he comes back. I did tell him to come back. Um, but he may not. I don't know. Uh, so he just said he's coming back. But honestly, it is going to be a great outing, I think, with all his friends there. So here he is, the man of the hour.
All right, cool.
All right, Kevin, you are not allowed to listen to the podcast pre um, race at all. You can listen to it Sunday, but you cannot listen to it any time point this week.
Deal.
Okay, great. So let's jump off of that. Let's go talk about a couple things that happened sports wise this week, and that's been happening. We'll leave the Knicks and Pacers talk to the end because I want to make sure Kevin is emotionally ready for this.
Yes, thank
Um,
you. I appreciate
because
that.
every game I do check up on him as a good friend of his. I want to make sure he's not trying to kill himself or hurt himself in any fashion or drink himself to death, because we've already had that conversation.
Yes, absolutely. It is like I know we're gonna talk about it later, but God has these 3 games just literally been such a roller coaster of emotions, and we'll get into it more. But it is just I can't deal with it. And for the basketball fan out there, I'm sure you guys are loving it for the excitement, but good God, it is rough. But okay, go ahead. First topic, where are we at?
All right, so let's talk. We're going to leave the NBA stuff to the end. Let's
All
talk
right.
something fun that's more related to me is lacrosse.
Yes,
So this
yes.
past weekend at Gillette Stadium, they hosted D1, D2, D3, and Women's D1 Championship weekend.
Okay.
Great games. Syracuse versus Maryland, Cornell versus Penn State to go to the championship game. Syracuse got blown out by Maryland. Maryland just went on a tirade and scored like 6 goals in
Oof.
a matter of minutes. It was I watched it and I was like, all right, halftime's up. I can't watch this. I'm a Syracuse lacrosse fan. It was rough, but it showed that they're gonna be there back up to that promised land where they should be near future. But you had Cornell win against Yale, which was a great back and forth game. They literally, I think, they won it by 11-10. Penn State went on a run at the end to try to come back, but it was just too late. And then Cornell versus Maryland for the national championship, which was the national championship 3 years ago. And Maryland beat Cornell. This time around, Cornell had the upper hand and won. And it was their first national championship since 1977.
Oh, wow.
And they've had some really good teams. I went to the lacrosse finals in 2008, 2009 when it was
Okay.
Syracuse Cornell. And that was when Syracuse won it in overtime. And they tied the game up with 9 seconds left in regulation. So that had some of the likes of like Rob Purnell, who is one of the best lacrosse players out there. I know Kevin does not know who this person is, but he is a phenomenal lacrosse player, as well as a couple others, Mims and a few others played for Syracuse. Um, and then still to keep with the lacrosse theme, we had the women's national championship, North Carolina versus Northwestern. And North Carolina came out and won to complete a perfect season, 22-0 record.
Is this the one too where like the girl just graduated college and now is coaching the team?
Um, is she lacrosse or field hockey? She might be field
Is she
hockey.
field? Oh, she might be field
Erin
hockey.
Mattinson, whatever her name
Yeah,
is.
yeah. I
I
remember reading
believe
about her. Is that field hockey?
she is, I believe, field hockey. Um, I can double check.
But that's pretty cool. I think I would at the bar we were watching the game. I think they had the lacrosse game on first, and then
Hmm.
they changed it over.
Yeah, and North Carolina is unreal. They are a powerhouse. Let me just double check.
And very interesting, like all those like it's those blue blood schools that really love like lacrosse. And
Mhm.
they're just really good at it.
Well, lacrosse has been interesting because I played it since I was a little kid, like
Yeah,
third
yeah.
grade, fourth grade on up until college. Um, it's a sport that was truly just a Northeast sport for
Right.
long, long time. And now you're seeing schools like Denver, that have won in the past. You have other teams that are slowly getting better. Like Penn State never had a team.
Yeah,
Ohio
they've
State
been
has a
pretty good the
team.
last couple times. Yeah.
So you have a lot of club teams that are slowly becoming D1. Now, we all know of, you and I went to school for sport management with a specific, you know, angle at college athletics because that's where we're in. And if you bring
Mhm.
a D1 program up for men, you have to bring an equivalent D1 program up for the
For
women's
women.
side. So
Mhm.
that has always been the back and forth with a lot of schools is can we bring up a lacrosse team that truly is a non-revenue generating sport? It does not generate a lot of revenue like basketball and football. And if we do we bring up softball? Do we bring up women's lacrosse? Do we bring this? So like when we added in Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and the most recent people from the Pac-12 to the Big 12, we actually added women's lacrosse was one of them
Oh.
because Pac-12 had women's lacrosse as a D1 sport. So we have some teams that were D1 and playing in other divisions, and now they're playing in a Big 12 kind of segment. I don't know if the women's lacrosse team has gotten there yet. I know they were club when we were there,
Hmm.
and the men's team is a club team at West Virginia, but they are really good. So
Okay.
I'm. I think in the near future you'll see a lot more schools with lacrosse at the D1 level, which would make it interesting because it's awesome to see, the likes of Cornell, Maryland, Syracuse, Princeton, some of these
Oh yeah.
big name schools, John Hopkins, we all know those in school. who have won a lot. But it'd be great to start seeing Penn State. They went to the championship 2 years last year, lost to it in a technicality, and it was their first or second year as a D1 program.
Ooh.
So they came out of nowhere. And you're seeing a lot of schools do that. So definitely interesting. It's that time of year, and it's actually next year is going to be at UVA. They're going to play the
Oh,
game
wow.
at UVA's football stadium. And my friend's a huge UVA lacrosse fan, so I might try to convince him let's make a
Do
trip
it.
and go down,
Yeah.
which would be fun.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but let's quit talking about lacrosse. I know Kevin doesn't understand 50% of what I just said, but
It's all
I
good.
appreciate him listening. Let's talk WNBA. Most teams have only played 3 to 4 games so far.
Mm-hmm.
Now the game's biggest star is out at least 2 weeks. Caitlin Clark with a quad strain,
Oh, I
apparently.
did not know that.
It just came up on ESPN as I was like kind of typing things in because hadn't written anything because being on out. Um, but yeah, she's out at least 2 weeks with a quad strain. But I really want to dive into what's going on with women's basketball because there's so much hate for a woman that has brought positive attention to the sport, which this
Mm-hmm.
sport, according to economics and all these other people, is close to bringing in $875 million this year, or close to $1 billion by the end of their season.
Oh,
That's the
yeah.
most combined. If you combine the first 25 years to now, they're not even sniffing that revenue. And it's
Okay.
because of one woman and other women, of course, we have other stars, but Caitlin Clark has brought a lot of attention to the sport, which is great. So
Yes.
why
Agreed.
is there, I want to ask, like, why is there the hate? What is going on with these teams and these players that dislike who she is or what she's doing?
You know what? It's funny, like you say that. I don't think it's necessarily a dislike. I think the players, when you look at the player side, I don't think there is a dislike for Caitlin Clark, but the media has just kind of flipped this script to like portray her as like this like God saving like talent, which
Hmm.
I feel like to like the common man, that's probably could be kind of like annoying. But I really do feel that, Caitlin Clark, everything she's been doing is incredibly great for the game. You talk about the Caitlin Clark effect. Have you heard about like the shirts that the Fever sold?
No, what did they sell?
So they brought out a T-shirt in which on the front it says every game is our home game, kind of calling out to the fact that pretty much everywhere they go, they're selling out the arena, which is true. Either they're
Hmm.
either selling out the arena or the WNBA team has to move up to the NBA arena because they need more seats to fill it because the other one is too small.
Okay,
Um,
the Sky and
the
Mystics.
Mystics, yeah. So, you know, I think people want to like kind of always want to create like this good guy and bad guy situation, which is what like they tried to turn like the foul that she had, which was a clean, hard contact foul to
Hmm.
Angel Reese, where to portray Angel Reese as this bad guy and Kevin Clark as the good guy. But people just gotta like let them do what they do, let them play. This is all good for the game. Everyone knows that women's basketball has been competitive. It's just that now when you have highlight stars like Caitlin, Angel Reese. Now you have Paige in the fold. That it's just going to be much more highlighted. Now, if you ask me, I love the physicality because let's
Hmm.
be real, the physicality in the women's game might be a little bit more than you see in a men's game.
Hmm.
No offense to the guys, but like just seeing it, saying it how we see it. But I think people are just kind of overreact to certain things, which is what we not need. We just need to support women's sports the way they're supposed to be and enjoy it for what it is. Like Caitlin Clark is good for the game. The more competitive the WNBA is, the more exciting it is, the more interest it draws. And it's only going to help us when we get those other expansion teams in. So,
Yeah. I
I
want
want to keep
to
the players home.
I want to talk about a clip I saw today from Cameron Brink, and she brought up an interesting point. Instead of expanding the WNBA, right, adding more teams, which is always good. It's always a good idea to expand to a point. I don't think the NBA could do any more than really 32
Yeah,
teams. NFL can never have more than 32. It just doesn't make sense. Hockey, same idea. You get to a point where you can't have more.
right.
She said instead of expanding first the league, why don't you expand the team bench?
Yeah,
Because they are only allowed to carry 12 women on a roster
which
at
is
any
wild.
given time. And majority of those teams play almost all 12 women. Not every game, right? It's like the NBA. You're not going to play all 15 players, but why
Right.
aren't we allowing, you have Caitlin Chen, who wouldn't have been cut from the Valkyrie most likely if we expand the roster to 15. Because now we have to sit here and say, well, she's not being able to play for at least a year here. She's going to go play overseas, make some money overseas. But if you had expanded the teams to 15 roster spots, she gets an opportunity to showcase what she can do for that expansion draft, which is going to happen next year for two more teams.
Hmm.
So it was an interesting like a comment, and part of me agrees with that. I think you should be looking to expand your roster as well expanding the league, but not one at a time. It should
Right.
happen in a fluid motion of, okay, you're expanding the league, we need to expand rosters.
You know what? I like that idea. If you were to expand it, where would you expand it? I think what, 15?
I think 15 because that's what the NBA holds.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think what you should do is what you do in the NBA. When you get to playoffs, you can only play 12.
Or suit up 12.
Only suit 12 each game. And it doesn't have to be the same 12 every game, right?
Hmm.
The first couple of games in Orlando, Torrey Craig was for the Celtics was in street clothes.
Right.
But then the rest of the series and the rest of the series against Knicks, he was playing. May not
Yeah.
play a ton, but he did play. So I
Yeah.
think it's the same idea that you should have for the WNBA if they're trying to follow a model of the NBA, which they have been because the NBA does own them. Um, I think that would be a great idea um, to at least do that because then you have, you know,
Think about all the people
300.
that we would have like, what is it? So it's how many teams does W have right now
We
that are
said it's 13.
so 12 times 13. You're talking that's 156 players there. And then so 13 teams times three players, another 39 players to be into the league. That means you could actually develop some players because you
Hmm.
don't have to stress about playing them right away. You can actually give them a chance to learn from vets and just learn the WNBA schedule.
And the thing with and this is nothing against women's league, there are points during the season where one of your players might become pregnant. Something might happen in their life that they cannot control, right?
Oh yeah, or just
So
even in general,
you have to
like
have that
pe-
backup type
people,
plan.
yeah, people get beat up. Like
Yeah.
basketball's a physical sport, like going up and down. Like, I think it's super important to really like have that backup bench just in case one of your top players goes down. You need that help.
Yep. I think that would be a great idea. Plus, we get to see a little bit more of the women's game. I know majority of people don't pay attention to women's basketball until it's March Madness, but it's a great game to watch. So,
Right.
um, though I am still excited for the expansion draft next year or the end of this year, basically, um, and see what that looks like in next season. And if there's more, then I think they'll have to have the conversation of we can't just keep allowing players to be drafted from each team because you're losing. I know you're distributing talent,
Yeah.
but you're also losing talent to different teams that then just does this to the whole league. It just kind of level sets it, and you can never have one real good team and one not so good team. You're
Mhm.
never able to rebalance that. So, um, we'll see. But let's talk about NBA. Thunder and Wolves, they tip off in about 25 minutes for game four in
Game
Minnesota.
4, Minnesota.
I have yet to watch any game of this series just because I have no
Desire.
desire, no
I
care.
get it. Get it.
But from what I read, is there's no team in NBA history that's ever lost a playoff game by 40 points and has gone on to win the NBA Finals.
Yeah, that third game is wild. I did not expect Minnesota to come out the way they did.
Mm-mm.
I only caught some highlights, but I'm just like, damn. Like that's crazy to lose by 40. Like it's like you just didn't even bother showing up. It's like
Yeah,
what happened?
I think that
What
the Wolves were like our backs against the wall. Let's go out,
Let's just freaking kill them and then, take it from there.
and that's the mentality they have to have the rest of this series.
Oh, 100%. But you mentioned that like the Wolves just got beat by 40. I was just listening to something
You mean Thunder?
before.
The Thunder just got beat by 40.
Yes, Thunder got beat by 40 by the Timberwolves. I'm sorry. My apologies.
You're good.
I was just listening to something earlier where they talked about that like right now in the playoffs, you don't have a single great team here.
Hmm.
You have a bunch of really good teams, but
Yeah.
nobody great, which makes sense because think about like the play that's going on right now. How does the Thunder come out winning 2-0 and then they show up in game 3 and just put up a goose egg and lose by 40? And then you
Hmm.
look at the the Knicks and Pacers series where you have the Knicks that just gave up a 20-point lead in 2 minutes and lose in overtime to come back to where the Pacers give up a lead of
Hmm.
20 and lose to the Knicks on their first home game back. So I want to know your thoughts.
I agree. I think this year's playoffs, there was never a team that was better than anybody else. I think last year you had the Celtics were far and beyond better than any team that they were going to face. It didn't matter who came out of the West, right? I don't think they would have had an easy time with anybody. This year, it was almost level across the board on we were going to see. Now, did anyone predict that the Celtics and the Cavs would be bounced in the second round? No. Heck no. We were expecting the Cavs and Celtics to be playing in conference finals right now to see who goes to the NBA finals to beat up on whoever is coming across the board. Um, but I totally agree. I don't think there's any team that is above anybody else.
Do we think this is a good thing or a bad thing?
It brings back 90s basketball, right?
Hmm.
90s NBA, which is, I think, great because that was a great style of basketball. It was rough and tough. Um, but it's also could potentially be a bad thing because you're now going to see, if it's trickle down effect, right? Teams are going to change how they approach the game even during the regular season. Now,
Right.
say the Knicks, so I'm gonna pull it off. They beat the Pacers. They go on and just beat whoever they play in the NBA Finals. God, I would die if that happened. But if it did, you would have teams start clamoring, oh, maybe we should look at how Thibodeau has been coaching. Maybe we should look at how this team's run. Should we change our approach? Because now we're going to have to go against the Knicks and we want to beat them. How do we beat them? And that's what every team does, right? You create a team that can beat the best team in the league. Like the Knicks created a team that could definitely beat Boston in the playoffs, and they did. They had the better team. Talent wise, heck no. They had far below talent compared to the Celtics. They beat up on the Celtics though in the way that the Knicks should have. They played physical basketball, and that's how they move forward. Is it sustainable for 5 to 10 years? No, we've gone past that point in the NBA. People are too thin, people are too frail. Um, you know, don't get me started on the whole Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is your MVP because he ain't your MVP. He ain't that good. Um, he
But I
wasn't.
but I will say I think what we're seeing is this whole narrative of super teams. That I think that's over now. The
I
super
think
team
so
deal
too.
is over, which I think is kind of good to see because you don't want people just grouping up to be like one team in like one area. Like that's like not fun. But like I like how you're like it's you really got to develop your team now. You got to be smart in how you develop your team. You can't just get three of the greatest players and then pick up anybody you want off the street. It's just not
Hmm.
going to happen anymore. So
No, I
yeah,
agree. I think what we should be seeing is teams creating a different approach um, to play a middle bit more of a physical style of basketball in the near future. But you also never lose what they've already started with the three ball, with this, with all the other things.
yeah,
Um, but I do think that you're going to have a change in the next couple of years. Um, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. The style of basketball is totally different, though. So
so different.
every year you could have something totally different. You could have a year where it's the big man that could shoot the three and they win everything, right?
Oh
With
yeah.
Djokovic a couple years ago,
Mm-hmm.
or last year.
Where you
Shooting
guys just
is
where everybody just shoots a three.
everyone shoots threes and makes them. Or this year you're going to have teams that are just going to be in a dogfight. Um,
Literally.
because I think no matter who comes out of the West, if it's the Pacers, it doesn't matter if it's the East, whoever comes out of the East, they play the same style of basketball.
Right.
Very, very physical.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I think the East wins because the West is not built for that right now. They are built for finesse,
Finesse. Yep.
speed, getting to the basket quickly, instead of the East where they're like, nah, we're built to stop that.
Yeah. The
So
grit and grind, the hustle, the fight back.
yeah, I'm intrigued to see what'll happen. But Kevin, I want to see how you're doing. I know you and I text after every game. I text you
Ah,
during the games
my
every now and then.
God.
But how are you feeling? Where do you
Where do I see
see
us?
the Knicks at this point? They're down 2-1. Game
2-1.
four's tomorrow night.
Yep.
Um, and then game 5 or 6 is when we're in New York, right?
Yeah. So I think I want to say it's either Tuesday, Saturday or Wednesday, Saturday or when the games are. But how I'm feeling? I'm feeling way better than I was pre-game yesterday.
Okay.
Um I want to say hopefulness is up from 20% to around 40% just because
Okay.
that was a really gutty performance. Um I'm still not content. The job is not finished. Uh, I just feel, one thing Tibbs did that realistically it wasn't really his choice is he played more players. He played 9 players yesterday compared to just the 8 he's been doing like the whole playoffs. So kudos to the guys on the bench for being ready,
Yeah.
specifically DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet. Shamet, who hasn't even seen the floor since the beginning of the playoffs.
Jesus.
And DeLon Wright maybe put in 25 seconds in game 1 or 2. So that was nice. DeLon, and the biggest change they did, they played Wright instead of campaign. So you had a guy that was really strictly focused on just defense. I think every time Wright got the ball, he either passed it to someone else. He never shot it. The only shot he took was the open layup that he got from a pass from Cat. So that's huge. Landry Shamit getting, he got some threes, got a couple buckets here and there. So I think he had like 5 or 4 points. But the importance in those guys playing is that just gives someone like Brunson a break, Josh Hart a little bit of a break, OG, Mikhail. It's just good to have extra guys to just like give those guys a breather because what Indiana is doing is simply physically roughing up Brunson for 48 minutes, whether
Yeah.
it's Naismith, whether it's Nemhard, whether it's
Ha
Hubbard, whether
Halliburton's been
it's
on them.
Halliburton, whether it's McConnell. They're simply just beating down Brunson. So you need guys that you can trust that can just give, don't have to be a lot, like 5 to 8 minutes. Just so if Brunson needs to have like a sip of water or just take a breath, you can throw those guys in there to just simply make things happen. Kudos to our guy Deuce McBride, who came up huge yesterday for shot making shots when Brunson wasn't in. I think there was a lineup where it was literally McBride, Cat, DeLon Wright and Landry Shamit, and I think like either OG or Mikal Bridges. It was an ugly lineup,
You know what
but
though? The Nick Bride, I think he signed a deal last year, the year before, to stay with the Knicks.
hell yeah,
The way he's playing now is setting him up for whenever his contract expires, which I only think was a
yeah,
three-year
yeah,
deal.
yeah. 3 year deal, but he got some good chunk of change
He
from it.
he's setting himself up for, okay, I'm not just a first or second guy off the bench.
He could start
I'm
for
a number five.
teams.
I'm in the top five.
Oh yeah.
And I think you're going to see him take a step away from New York, because he can't start over Brunson. It's just, Brunson is the better player. Um, and you're not going to let Hart or Mikal Bridges go and all these other things. So I
Well,
think,
everybody's kind of set up to like be in like a 3 year window.
yeah.
So we have all those guys are pretty much locked for 3 years. So I fully anticipate Deuce being here unless he asks for a trade for whatever reason. But the key for the next game is Deuce continue needs to be energy off the bench. I do like the switch up of Josh Hart coming off the bench and having Mitchell Robinson in just simply for the fact of like just having more length on the floor.
Hmm.
So, and Mitchell has been balling from a retrospect of getting rebounds, blocking shots, just being a defender, not getting into foul trouble. He's been pretty solid when on the floor. He just poor guy just can't shoot free throws. So we just can't get into a situation like we did in game two where it was Hack and Mitchell, so they can just get the ball back real fast. So I'm interested to see what happens because I know they didn't need to play those other guys last game. They only did it because Jalen Brunson had 4 fouls before the end of the first half, and Cat had like 3 or 4, and McBride had 3. So we just need to have a little bit of trust in our bench, play them, and then I think we have a shot. I'm not going to say we're going to win. I think we have a fighting shot to continue to keep this up. But also, to the other side's point, the Pacers were not making the shots that they normally make yesterday.
Hmm.
It was like there was a rim on their front of the rim. So it's like there was a cover.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be an everyday thing. So we can't expect them to be missing shots like they were, and especially their free throws. They're pretty good at free throws the whole entire playoffs and up until yesterday. So I anticipate them to bounce back game four. It's a matter of we're gonna have enough. And if
Well,
we miraculously make it 2-2, then it is a clean slate series of best out of three, which would be out of control.
so you might have at least a leg up because Aaron Neesmith is questionable for tomorrow
He's
night's
gonna
game
play. He's gonna
due
play.
to,
I'm not even worried that that
I'm
reported
assuming
he's gonna play.
I'm assuming he's going to, but you never know. It's a game time decision, so we'll see. Um,
Very true. And then we won't even find out up until he's walking out on the court or he's not walking
okay.
out on the court.
So now let's go jump over to West Virginia because that's our true love that we have here.
True love. Yep.
Don't tell my wife that. But baseball, they did not win the Big 12. I think they finished in third. Arizona came up and won the Big 12 tournament,
Okay.
but yesterday it was announced that they did make the round of 64, so that's awesome.
Amazing.
They are going to Clemson. So
Ooh.
It's Clemson, West Virginia, Kentucky, and then Upstate. So those are the four teams in their bracket.
What's the goal? So they just have to win the bracket. How does it work?
S- So I don't remember if this is single elimination. It's so weird because the baseball season for college goes up until like the end of June. It's a lot of baseball and it's a lot of different games. I don't understand how the College World Series works, how it all. But basically they need to win their bracket to get out. And I think this is single elimination. Um, like last year when they went down to North Carolina and they lost to North Carolina. Um, they'll play Kentucky, who's a pretty good baseball school, on Friday. So we'll see if they can win that game. And then if they do, then they would play the winner of Clemson versus Upstate. And then whoever wins that would move on, I'm assuming. I think it's more like the round of 32, 36, like college basketball. But until you get to like the final little bit, I know it's like around like 3 game series, two like something like that. It's kind of
Hmm.
weird how it's all set up. But all that matters is we made the tournament. We won 41 games this year, the most in school history.
Love that.
Baseball program is looking dang good. Plus finishing first in the regular season for Big 12 is huge. I know we didn't win the whole thing, but still huge accolades for this team. I'm excited.
Yeah. First year with a new head coach too, right?
Yeah, but he's been like head coach and waiting for like 3 years. He's been the bench coach, the number
Mm.
one bench coach, for a few years. So, um, kind of everyone knew he was going to take over, which is good. Now, let's talk about why we're here.
Why we're
It's
here.
all about you.
Which is wild.
All about you. So,
My gosh.
HYROX,
Yes.
this HYROX USA this Saturday, and Sunday. You said it's an all weekend event, but
Yes.
walk us, peasant people, through
Peasant people, you guys are funny.
what this event is. What are you doing? Or how did this all start? Because like I've said, I liken it to CrossFit, which you've told me it's not, but in my mind, that's how it's kind of what it looks like. So walk me through that. Walk us through what this is.
So basically, what this is, think of it as if I were to compare it to things, I would compare it to a Spartan race plus CrossFit like fusion,
Okay.
but like a Jace. Because basically I would say everyone is able to do this that we're doing. Uh so basically it's a fitness race. Um it includes running, includes functional movements. What's it called? I was gonna tell everyone the workout, but I cannot find. Oh, here it is. Favorites. I couldn't find where my little thing was. It's killing me right now. But basically it is starts off with a 1 kilometer run. Then we go into a station. So it's a kilometer run with 8 stations in between. You have to run in between each station. So if I could just get this up, damn, my photos screwed me up, killing me out here, Merritt. Hold on.
Should have
Sorry,
been
people.
prepared. Just kidding.
I should. No, you're right. I should have been prepared, and I was. I had everything like all set up. Hold on. That's my shared albums featured. Do. More photo. Aha, albums. Here we go. Important. I put it in the important section. All right. So you start off with 1 kilometer run. So I'm
Okay.
doing mixed doubles. So I have a
Okay.
partner, my friend Michelle. We were gonna try and get her on the podcast because she's my partner, but she has to deal with her sick son and her sick husband and take care of them. So she's got to do her mom duties. But so her and I will be running together.
Mhm.
She cannot run ahead of me, and I cannot run ahead of her because that will deduct a penalty if that happens. So we have to run together.
Okay.
So it's 1 kilometer run, followed by between the two of us, we do 1,000 meters on the ski erg machine, split up however way we want. We run a kilometer, then we go into a 50-meter sled push.
All
which
right.
goes to 152 kilograms. Merritt, if you want to do the math on that, if I got it right, I believe it is 330 pounds.
Hmm.
So we have that. We run a kilometer run. Then we have to sled pull 50 meters, which is at 103 kilograms, which is brings it around 220, 240 pounds that we're doing. Run another kilometer, go into burpee broad jumps for 80 meters, which is gonna suck. Then we run a kilometer. Then her and I split 1,000 meters on the row machine, 1 kilometer, 200-meter farmer carry with two 24-kilogram kettlebells in each hand, which ranges out to around 52 pounds if I did the calculations correctly in each hand. So 200-meter farmer's carry. Then we run another kilometer and go into a 20-kilogram sandbag lunge for 100 meters. And then another kilometer run. I think I kept saying kilograms. If I was saying kilograms in earlier, guys, I'm so sorry, but it's kilometers. So another 1K run, and we end with 100 wall balls to a target collectively at 6 kilograms, which is about 14 pounds. And then we run to the finish line, which is like this big arc.
Oh my
So
God.
that is the race. The average person, if you were to do it alone, is about an hour and a half.
Okay.
So two people. We'll see what happens. So I went last year. So the way it all started was we had a small group of my gym start going and saying they're gonna do this freaking thing last year.
Hmm.
Only a small group of them. I went to go watch. It was last May after Labor Day. Oh my God, what is that view? Oh my God, some crazy thing happened with my screen and it looked like a ghost behind me. So I got scared for a second. So anybody's watching this, if you see a little like clear sky, that might have been a ghost. So we'll see what happens.
Oh boy.
But back to what I was saying. So I went last year to watch my friends. It was really cool, really exciting. They originally had the event just one day, every single division, one day.
Okay.
Because of last year's New York event, how much they profited and the demand that it had, they had to extend it to 3 days. So
Wow.
it is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where last year was only Saturday for everyone. So it's just really wild how this whole thing take off because it's funny because if you think about like what was hot like 5, 6 years ago, everybody was doing CrossFit. Now, fast
Hmm.
forward, and it's all those people that were doing CrossFit are now like, shit, I don't know if I feel like lifting heavy weight. They just want to do something that's just as challenging, but something different. And this is the thing. You actually see a lot of like elite CrossFitters that have like retiring from CrossFit and transitioning over to HYROX. So it's really cool. I believe Puma is like kind of like the feature sponsor of this thing, along with the gym. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, like F45.
Yeah, yeah.
F45 is
I've
actually
heard
the
I have
sponsor of this
friends that
thing.
have done a lot of it.
Yeah, so it's really cool. And like my entire gym, or a good portion of it is doing this. There's a bunch of us that are going to be competing on Saturday. We're all just waiting simply for our heat times. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's how it really started. And then we started training. We started really training the end of February. So end of February, a group of us at the gym, we would all like work out together at like 5:45 in the morning before the first class at our gym. And really just dialed in. It's because the main thing is a lot of people have never like ran this much before. So when you think about doing all the kilometers, Mary, if you could do the math for me, kilometers into miles, 8 kilometers is what you're technically running. That's about, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's like 4.88 miles.
So it's 4.97 miles, so just under 5 miles.
And like the average person to run that, that's a lot. Adding
I
in,
I ran a mile and a half the other day and I thought I was gonna die.
like that's what I'm saying. So like the fact that like and in between each of those kilometers, you have to do like these stations that boost your heart rate up. it's challenging. So uh I'm just happy that like we're here. It's I've put in the work. I've gone every Saturday morning from February on, like so Friday nights, no partying for Kevin because Kevin is going up at 5 in the morning to work out, which is wild on a Saturday. But I just wanted to make sure that I can make it out of this thing. Because
You
like
got it.
me and my partner both talked about like we just want to be able to walk out of this without like and do it without being like, oh my God, I feel like I need to get rushed to the hospital.
Well, no matter what, Kevin, you have a huge support group that's going to be there cheering you on the whole time.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm very excited to see you guys. I think when I see you guys will probably be yelling at me. So I will be probably, I'm going to probably have to contain myself from going faster than I want to
right.
because I'll probably be excited because a lot of like the people that I know that have done it several times, they've said the most things that rookies do is they'll run, they start out hot with the run, they freaking like murder the ski fast, the sled pulls and push fast. Then they get to the burpee broad jumps, and then all of a sudden life changes.
Yeah.
And pretty much it goes downhill from there. So I'm trying when we did a simulation of it 2 weeks ago, the burpee broad jumps did suck a lot.
Well, I can only
So
imagine that's got to be a tough one right there
yeah.
in
So
general.
you
So
you you might see me just start crying on the floor after the burpee broad jumps. But I know you guys will be yelling for me, so I'm hyped for that.
we are so excited for you, dude. Like the simple fact that one, you told us all about this so that we could be there. And then it worked that it wasn't, everyone thought it was Memorial Day weekend. I was like, no, it's not. To get everyone that's coming, we got, our group from New Hampshire, Massachusetts, all over. Your Jersey people are coming.
Yeah.
Like it is going to be a lot of fun. Andrew and I get into the city on Friday at like 10 a.m. So we're just
Oh,
gonna,
it's fire.
so we're just gonna hang out in the city for majority of the day. Cyrus will meet us there eventually. I don't know what time yet,
Hmm.
um, but he'll get there. We'll hang out, we'll get food, whatever. Um, we'll have a good time. And we're not far. I think we're staying at like a couple miles or so from where the event is going on. So we'll just walk
Okay.
to the event. But
Nice.
we'll try to scope out some places to have some celebratory drinks after the fact,
Yes,
because
yes.
it's definitely necessary, definitely needed.
Oh, I have been like very good with the exception of a couple times going out with friends. Alcohol has been limited. Eating as much as I like to has been limited because I'm trying to make sure I make this happen. Like I
You
ran
got it.
5 miles yesterday, like straight for the first time in my life. And, I'm just like, what are we doing? How did we get here? We're just embracing the process, doing it up. And yeah, we're just make it happen. I'm excited. I'm excited for Saturday to get here. I'm off on Friday. So if I can maybe take a trip to see y'all in the city, we'll see what happens.
We'll be there. Like I said, we're gonna be hanging out all day. I don't know to what degree what we'll be doing. But I think we'll be doing having fun. The biggest thing that we'll need from you is probably your mini mics so that we can do some
Yes.
filming, um,
Yeah.
and just interviewing people that are interested. Just say, hey, we're here with our friend supporting him, but we'd love to talk with you, see who you're supporting.
Do it up.
We're definitely gonna have some fun with it. Cyrus will probably be the one that's in front of the camera majority of the time because we know how much that motherfucker loves to talk.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
but we are excited to be a part of this for you. And like I said, if you can do it, man, maybe I'll try to do it with you next year
You
and
know
not
what's
die.
crazy? I had this wild idea.
Oh God.
What if uh what if like you and Andrew were a team and then me and Cyrus were a team or like you and me a team and then him and Cyrus Andrew and Cyrus as a team.
Oh God.
Well,
That would,
you don't have to think about that now. Let's watch how this race is gonna go first
yeah,
for
let me
me.
see how it goes first before we
Make such a commitment. I
say
know.
say, yeah, let me really do this. This is not me on the podcast saying, yes, I'm 100% in. It is me saying there's a thought process to potentially doing this.
Again, you know what it was for me? Like, so I remember when I first came back after watching my friends do it last year, I was like, I think I could possibly do it. And I would like sort of like just start slowly semi running here and there to just like see what it's like to run because I fucking hate running. It
Oh,
sucks.
sucks.
Um, and then I remember my friend, like, my friend Michelle was like, Kevin, I'll do it with you if you want to do it. And then that's how me and Michelle ended up being partners was kept the commitment like, all right, if I'm gonna do this, you're gonna do this. She's like, yeah, I'll
Hmm.
do it. And then I remember January 1st was the release date of the tickets for HYROX. I said, hey, I got access to get tickets. Are you in? She said, I'm in. I said, oh shit. I hit purchase. Tickets were purchased.
Gonna back
And
out
she
now.
goes, holy shit, it's real. So, but yeah, I think the one thing I'm most excited is to just be able to be out with like all the people that I was training with
Hmm.
and to watch them like see the process and like the final product. So like, I know a lot of people have been like, you know, in like my friend group, they've been doing like extra work. They've been like going to other gyms, joining other gyms, doing their own separate workouts at other places. But, I'm just excited to see what everyone's progress is. And, for us, me and Michelle, we're just looking to finish and finish strong. I don't need to be setting world records like some of my other friends. We just want to go ahead and finish strong and be able to like take a picture with like the fucking Velcro patch that they give us. They don't give us a medal. I heard they give a medal. I would love if they give a medal because I pay $200+ to do this and all I get is a Velcro patch. That's extra sad. But yeah. Oh, um, yeah, that's what it is. High Rocks this Saturday. Time TBD.
Yep.
Uh I would send a text message out to you guys when I find out my exact time.
Perfect.
And then, yeah, we'll take it from there because I really just want to know my time just so I know what's the proper way I'm going to be able to like whatchamacallit, like nutrition myself with food.
Yeah. Just
Because like
that'll be
nutritioning
ideal.
myself for 4 o'clock is gonna be way different if I than nutritioning myself for like 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
we're excited. I can't wait for it. It's gonna be one of those things that's gonna be a blast.
yes. If I start crying, just let me know to fucking suck it up.
If you do, I'll just yell at you.
Cool. All right.
All right.
Like it.
Kevin, did we miss anything?
Yeah, negative. I think we're good. We talked about my Knicks. We talked about Dub V. We don't have a filibuster's question yet because I haven't seen Josh in a bit because right now it's busy truck season because it's
Yeah.
the start of summer. Shout out to Josh and the 12 truck. But shall I outro us out?
Let's go, dude, so we can go to sleep and go to the gym.
Literally. All right, so outro time, guys. Again, thank you guys for listening. This was supposed to be a quote unquote short episode, but
Oops.
we still went an hour. So shout out to y'all. But again, for those that have been listening to us, continue to listen to us on all streaming platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we are on Amazon Play.
I think
I
so.
believe. There it is. Then you can go ahead and watch us on the YouTube at the Manly Musings Podcast. I believe the last podcast just released on Apple Podcasts. I just got the notification that says we
Uh,
back. So shout out to Andrew for doing that.
let's
Make sure you
see.
follow the Instagrams.
Yep, it
Follow.
literally just was released 35 minutes ago, everybody. So go
Love
listen.
that. Yes,
That was
please
last
do.
week's episode.
Shout out to Merritt at Merritt_P. Shout out to me at KQuaver624. Shout out to the TikTok and the podcast Instagram at the Manly Musings Pod. Take care. Spike your hair. Good night, y'all.